going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Swing and a miss. Oregon is headed to the Super Regional.
Fans being out there making this a great impact.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It's game week. Yes, it's here. It's game week here at the athletic department of the University of Oregon. We're breaking it down because Oregon soccer, the era of the Big Ten, it starts on Thursday when Oregon hosts Seattle at Pape Field. We'll have Graham Abel on the show later today. He'll break down that matchup and what else is to come because there's two being played this weekend. That game on Thursday, also Portland State in town on the 18th of August to play. So two games this weekend at Pape Field for Graham Abel's Oregon soccer squad. We'll break that down with the head man, the head coach of Oregon women's soccer, coming up later on the program today on Duck Insider here in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Ryan Milano breaking down today's show, as not only is it game week for Oregon soccer, it was, practice game weekend for Oregon football. It was scrimmage weekend for Oregon football. The Ducks got out to Autzen Stadium, were out on the field scrimmaging offense versus defense on Saturday. Today's a Monday. 2 days ago, yesterday was Sunday, off day for Oregon football. Saturday is when Oregon had their scrimmage and were able to really get after it for the first time this fall to see what Oregon was bringing to the table on the football front. Dan Lanning, will have him for you in just a moment. He said that offense won a little bit, defense won a little bit. Competition level across the board was high for the scrimmage, and it really should be, because this is an Oregon team that is touted as one of the best in the country. Not just a top 5 team, a top 3 team in college football, according to the AP poll that was released earlier today. Ducks opening at number 3 in the AP poll. It's the highest preseason ranking for the Ducks since 2014. Their number 3 slot matches the 2011, 2013, and 2014 teams for the highest preseason AP program ranking in history of Oregon football. It's Georgia at 1, Ohio State at 2, and Oregon at 3, with Texas and Alabama rounding out the top 5. Also, the Big Ten Conference, they come in with 6 top 25 teams. Ohio State, that top mark, just one slot ahead of Oregon. Then it's Penn State and Michigan at 8 and 9, and 2 teams in the back end of the top 25, where USC sits at 23 and Iowa sits at 25. It's an Oregon team that has some expectations. Expectations are earned through consistency and earned through product on the football field. Really, the first taste of product on the football field happened on Saturday, where Oregon was able to scrimmage for the first time. Head coach Dan Lanning, fresh off the practice field, speaking with the media, getting instant reactions from Oregon's first scrimmage on Saturday. Let's hear from head coach Dan Lanning.
All right, good competitive scrimmage, good physicality, guys out there tackling, running the ball, blocking hard. Thought all that showed up. I think there's a lot of things operational that we can clean up and improve, whether it's pre-snap penalties, shift motions, handling those the proper way. Plenty to work on, but saw a slight improvement on where we want to be. Definitely a lot of place for us to grow moving forward, so we can open it up.
How were the snaps and cue exchange?
Yeah, pretty good for the most part, but there were certainly some snaps that could be better.
Talk about explosive plays. How was the offense and how was the defense handle those?
defense?
Yeah, I think that we were limited from an explosive play standpoint. Want to be able to see some more of those. I thought the offense did a much better job on third down overall in comparison to defense, and having some success there. But it's a little give and take.
I think it's positive for the day for you.
Just the competitive toughness, right? The guys competed from the minute we started till the minute it finished, right? Wanted to win every single rep and did a pretty good job of getting to the next play.
How did you feel about the decision-making of the quarterbacks?
Yeah, pretty good. We had one turnover on the day. Didn't create as many there overall, but I thought we protected the ball well. Yeah, good. Some good moments. Obviously, got to be able to get back and watch the film. Made a couple kicks that were critical, and then also some moments for improvement.
Any players that stood out to you, obviously, before
No.
watching the play? No.
And what is the process of digesting this and kind of putting a plan in for next week?
Yeah, we got to go watch the film here ASAP, right? Get a write-up on where we need to grow as a team, right, on every side of the ball, and then figure out where we're at and what we need to attack moving on to this next week.
How did Dylan look specifically since it's his fourth scrimmage with you guys going back to spring?
Yeah, I think he's operating in the system. He understands, again, what we want to be able to accomplish, and he's getting more and more comfortable as we go.
Is the pace of the ones starting to get to where you want it to be?
No, it wasn't there today, right? I'd like to see us to be, again, when I talk about operation, that's kind of what I'm talking about. I want to see our pace of play, our getting in and out of the huddle. I want to see that improve.
How would you describe just the connection between the quarterbacks and the wide receivers right now?
I think there's a lot of trust in both parts, right? For those guys to be where they're supposed to be and the ball to be there when they get there. So I think that's in a good spot.
How about tackle? What stood out there?
Yeah, I thought we tackled well, but I have to go back and watch the film to really assess that.
Do red zone work specifically, or just part of the scrimmage as a whole? Or did you...
It was within the scrimmage. We had a red zone period.
How each side kind of
a little bit back and forth, a little bit of both.
Would you say there was any particular winner, defense, offense that looked a little bit better than the other?
I don't think so. Not necessarily today. There was highs and lows for both sides of the ball.
Was Noah able to go?
He was, yeah.
How does this feel different, now in year 3 versus year 1 preparing for the scrimmages?
I don't know that it feels that different. Like, it's time to work, right? And I walk away from these things thinking all the things that we got to improve and work on, right? So that's where my mindset's at right now.
Do you have a vision for what this team is going to look like that shows signs that you're in that direction today?
I certainly have a vision. I don't know if we're there yet, right? But we have talent. We have some ability. We got to improve.
That's Coach Dan Lanning after the scrimmage on Saturday. Liked a few things from the offense, looking for a little bit more explosives, a little bit of a higher pace of play and operation, but liked the way that the offense moved the football, in particular in the conversions. Those are the reactions from Coach Dan Lanning after the scrimmage on Saturday. Oregon will have more opportunities to continue to tune up before we get to the game at the end of the month against Idaho at Autzen Stadium. There will be 2 more Saturdays before then where Oregon will be able to scrimmage. We're 3 Saturdays away. 3 Saturdays away, and Oregon is in the full swing of things throughout fall camp and continuing to clean things up, improve on operation. Well, that's really all that special teams is about, right? Yeah. We'll hear from Joe Lorig, the special teams coordinator. He was fresh off the practice field on Friday. We're hearing from him when we return on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Ma, is this how you feed a hamster?
I think so.
Is my homework right?
I think so.
Is, this milk still good?
I think so.
When it comes to parenting, sometimes it's okay to think you know. But when it's something as important as your child's car seat, don't just think. Know. Double check if your child is in the right seat for their age and size. It'll help protect them in a car crash. Don't just think. Know by visiting nhtsa.gov/the right seat. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna take my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now.
We're back inside the Country Financial Studio on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We're shouting here in the Country Financial Studio because we're excited. It's game week for Oregon soccer. It's scrimmage week, post-scrimmage week, really, for Oregon football. But before the scrimmage on Friday after the show, there was still a practice, and coaches and players still met with the media. We didn't have it for you on Friday because we're here live with you in the 1 o'clock hour. Practice normally wraps up right around 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So fresh off of the practice field on Friday, we're talking specialists. We're talking kickers. We're talking punters. We're talking returners. Joe Lorig, the special teams coordinator, he broke down all of the minutia things that need to go on to have a successful operation on special teams. Let's hear from the STC special teams coordinator, Joe Lorig.
So where's Andrew Boyle at now? If he wasn't available in the spring, if you see him out there, but
Andrew's doing great. He's full go. He's had a great camp so far. Really excited to have him.
Where's the competition for kickoff with him, with Atticus, with Grant, just what that looks like right now?
Yeah, that's something that we chart every day. Obviously tomorrow, but being our first scrimmage will be a big factor into that too. But we actually looked at the charts last night, and it's almost dead even right now. I think the next couple of weeks will really provide some clarification for us. Both are really, really good. Along with Gage Hirick, who's a freshman. He's right in the mix too. He's super talented as well.
When you're making those kind of determinations to onside kicks and those sort of things factor in swift kicking, how are you incorporating?
No, not really, because you could always sub someone in those kind of situations if you needed to. Certainly, if they can do that, it does help. Really, we just chart it. We just literally every 3 days we go into Autzen and we chart kicks, and it's pretty simple. We just base it on ball location, hang time, and touchback percentage, and then whoever's going to give you the best opportunity to eliminate explosive returns, just look at the numbers, to be honest with you. And then you got to put them in pressure situations, because some guys can be really good at it in practice when no one's there, and it's not the same with the fans and the distractions and all the things that come along with game day. So you try to replicate that as much as you can as well.
Yeah, how do you replicate that?
You don't. You just try to by putting them in situations. End of practice, the whole team runs if you miss this field goal kind of stuff. If we're going to have a kickoff competition, you guys pick that guy, you pick that guy, the losers have 10 up downs. You just try to replicate the pressure, but you can't replicate going into Autzen Stadium and being on TV and all that stuff. It's a different kind of mental toughness that's probably the hardest thing to evaluate. That's why guys with experience are always a big plus, because they've done it on that stage before, and it's just different. You really won't know until you see a guy in that situation.
What have you seen from Atticus over the last, couple of weeks, couple of months, obviously since spring camp, and how he's improved here in Eugene?
Yeah, he's really blended in well. I think it's been a really good fit for him. He's excited to be here. He's brought another level of competition to the room. As I was just saying, he's a guy that's experienced. He's been there. I think he was second in the country last year in field goal percentage at 92%. So he comes with a pedigree already, of a guy that's literally not talk about it, but he's been about it. And so brought a level of maturity to the room, and also a guy that's been in a different program, and so he can tell the guys some of the things that are great about Oregon and how lucky they are to be here, because some guys that have only been here, they don't always know the perks and benefits that they have of being at a place like Oregon. So I appreciate that about him.
How's the competition looking? What have you seen from Tyler?
Again, very, very, very close with, Tyler's young. Tyler's just a true freshman, so he'll need to come along just as all freshmen do. But when you talk about Luke Dunny and Grant, and Ross, you got two really, really, really talented guys. Again, we just looked at the charts last night as a group, and it's literally neck and neck. So, the competition over the simulated game days these next couple weeks is going to be really important, and how they can handle different types of kicks, pinning guys into their different field locations, some of those kind of things, and then again handling the pressure. But we have a couple of really talented punters.
Certainly see more bodies out there in kickoff return, fielding kicks, Joe. Do you feel like you have that many more viable options? Do you have to pare it down here the next couple of weeks? What's that process going to look like?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of good options. I think you just said it right, as having to pare it down. I think some of that is the chemistry together, between the off returner and the returner, with the timing with the whole unit. So, getting a bunch of guys reps early and then kind of paring it down as you go through the next couple 3 weeks of simulated games. You want to get to it where you're at least 3 deep on each side, and then kind of build the chemistry between that off returner and the returner. But certainly I think we have enough we have enough bodies and enough talent back there that I think we can be explosive in the return game.
Is there anyone truly off limits? Because obviously the last 2 years we saw Bucky didn't go back there until the postseason. And Troy went through the punt return motions in practice, but we never saw him in a game, understandably to a point. But
yeah,
is there anyone off limits, and who makes that call?
No, there's nobody off limits. Sometimes we try. I try to be smart with things. Certainly it goes to me first, and then obviously Coach Lanning makes the final decision. We meet on it every week as a staff. And then him and I meet separately as well. But really, Bucky not being on last year was my decision initially, and then obviously Coach supported it, because once Noah went down, you just were a little bit more limited at running back, and so we want to always try to look at the big picture. I don't want to just be good on special teams. I want to be good on offense and defense also, so we can win. So, but no, other than quarterbacks, O-line, D-line, no one's off limits. We'll play the best guys. Sometimes what people don't realize, we only have 2 goals in special teams: own the ball, no penalties, right? I don't care if we're first in the country in kickoff return, as long as we own the football, because we have a dynamic offense. If you give our offense the ball between the 20 and 30-yard line, we're going to score a lot of points, right? We want to eliminate negative plays, and we got to have guys back there that'll make great decisions. So even if it's not, let's say we had a guy that was just crazy dynamic, and you see him as a reporter or something, you're like, why is that guy not returning it? Well, it might be that he doesn't have the best ball security, or he doesn't make the very, very best decisions, right? So it has to be, that really comes first and foremost in our process, is who's going to give us the best chance to make sure that we're going to get the ball minimum at the 25. And then if that guy also is one of the most explosive returners, that's a great thing.
How are you measuring progress for long snapping for someone like Luke, who obviously now has a year of experience doing it at this level, but what are you looking for day to day?
Yeah, you're looking for consistency. You're looking for operation time and ball location. And again, probably sounds like my job's pretty boring, because I'm going to say we chart again. So we chart it every day. Every single snap is charted. We chart the time on it and the location on it. And then on field goal, even though it seems like a little thing, we chart where the laces are and those kind of things. So people joke about laces back and all that stuff, but really when a ball's snapped, a good long snapper, the laces are always facing forward. And if they're not, it's actually a pretty big deal to the kicker. So all that is charted. And I'm looking for, no catastrophics, nothing where we roll a ball back or something like that. And then again, where's the ball placement? If we're going to punt the ball to the right, then the ball should be placed on the right hip. If we're going to punt the ball to the left, it's placed on the left hip. If we're going to punt the ball in the middle, it should be placed on the belt buckle. So we're literally just categorizing that every day, along with the times.
And you've seen good impressions so far in terms of the progress Luke's made there?
Yeah, I'm super proud of Luke. Luke's one of the best long snappers in the country. The last guy that I coached is Chris Stoll, who starts for the Seahawks, and Luke's every bit as good as him, no question. So now it's a matter of how is he going to continue to develop and progress, right?
Looking back at that 2012 staff at ASU, Joe, when you're on staff and you've got Dan in the recruiting staff and Brian's a GA, just what stood out about them then, and to see
2012 ASU, man, you expect me to remember who you're asking about? I'm sorry, I don't remember who was even there. I've been a part of a few staffs since then. Okay, Coach Lanning, and who else? Coach Mike Kalowski,
Yeah, to see them go from what was then to now.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be with people at different places. Coach Lanning and I have obviously been together, and Brian too, at Memphis, obviously at Arizona State, and now it's cool to see their growth. I always knew Coach Lanning would be a superstar. That was very obvious from day one. He was different than everybody else, and certainly knew that Coach Mike Kalowski had a bright future too. So it's fun, man. It's people throw the word family around a lot, but as much time as we spend together and the sacrifices that we make and the relationships that our wives and stuff and our kids have, we really are like a family. So like Coach Lanning is like my brother. So it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty special.
You thought at all in the 105 scholarship world, Joe, if that'll open doors that we're starting to get closed on your position group in particular?
Yeah, as far as specialists go?
Yeah. All of a sudden you can have actually multiple scholarship kickers, punters, long snappers, and not
Yeah, I've actually lost sleep the other way, thinking that our numbers will probably go down. I imagine right now we have 9. I imagine we'll probably only be allowed 6. So I think that there's a perception that it's going to be really good for specialists, but I don't think that it necessarily will be. I think those spots are going to be extremely, extremely hard to come by, and you won't be able to take 9 and sort out who the best guys are. You're going to have to be very, very specific, very detailed. That's something that's really undervalued in football in general is specialist recruiting. You can't make mistakes. If you make a mistake on a kicker or a punter or a snapper for that matter, you're probably getting fired because you're stuck for quite a while. Whereas if you make a mistake at a position where you have 10 or 15 scholarships, you got 14, 13 other guys to make up for, right? You make a mistake at one of those positions and you're going to be in big, big trouble. So I think that those spots are going to be really, really limited. I know they're going to be very hard to get, and you better be really thorough with the guys you recruit because the 2 punters, the 2 kickers, and the 2 snappers better be really, really good or you'll be in trouble in a hurry.
That's Special Teams Coordinator Joe Lorig. An assistant coach interview, as always, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center here breaking down Joe Lorig after he came off the practice field on Friday. There's only 2 goals in special teams. Own the ball, no penalties. And a whole lot of charting. There's a whole lot of charting because there's a whole lot of competition in the special teams group, whether it's that kicker, whether it's that punter, whether it's that returner. There are explosive returners on this team. There is a stable of punters, like you just heard Coach Lorig talk about. There's also a healthy helping of kickers. We're going to talk to one of them. Someone who's handled the kickoff duties for Oregon in the past, Andrew Boyle. He's coming up on the other side. It's Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different. And not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union here in the Country Financial Studio. Ryan Milano taking you through today's show. We just heard from both head coach Dan Lanning after the scrimmage on Saturday and special teams coordinator Joe Lorig after practice on Friday. Also after practice on Friday, one of the guys who Joe Lorig has coached for the last 2 years at the kicker position, Andrew Boyle. He has handled the kickoff duties for Oregon in the past in 2022, missed last season due to an injury, but is back for this season, and he can be utilized in a whole bunch of different ways. But where Oregon fans will probably get to know him the most is on kickoff. And if you remember back 2 years ago against UCLA, it takes a certain type of kicker to recover their own onside kick. Yeah. Andrew Boyle saw a look that he liked against UCLA, and he booted it off the ground to himself and earned an extra possession for Oregon. Oregon special teams only has 2 goals. No penalties. Own the ball. Getting extra possessions is a fantastic way to own the ball, and someone who could figure to be a big part of this special teams grouping, it's kicker Andrew Boyle. He met with the media after practice on Friday. Let's hear from the Oregon kicker.
Take us back to last year and just what happened, because we never got total clarity as to what happened.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, last year was a little bit of a disappointment for me. Dealt with a little bit of some injuries, wasn't on the field at all last year, but, I'm not really focused on that. I'm just happy to be back, grateful to be here, and ready for the season, ready to make it a great one.
What all is the nature of the surgery?
I'm not getting into too much detail on it, but, I had a little bit of knee trouble last year, but we're healthy now, ready for this year, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
When were you cleared, good to go? When were you totally back to full participation?
Not sure when I was totally 100%. I did almost all of spring ball, so I've been back and good for a long time, ready to go.
What's your approach to the competition this year in camp and get back to the role that you were?
Yeah. I think, obviously a kicker, you can't be too hung up on any one kick or any one day's performance. It's all just about the next kick, sticking to your process and sticking to your routine. So I just take it day by day, kick by kick, and I got trust in myself, trust my preparation, and just know whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
What's the process been like, just getting back into the mindset of playing and reps and everything like that over the last year or so for you?
Yeah. Well, it's been a long process, but I feel like I've kept my body in great shape over this time. Had a lot of time to, focus on different parts of my game, different ways to prepare myself. So I think it's helped me become more mentally tough and just mentally prepared for the season.
How do you stay mentally tough? What do you do? Is there anything specific to make sure you stay in the right mindset?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of ways you can go about mental toughness, especially as a kicker. It's like I said, it's a one play mentality. So you just got to know, no matter what you did on the last kick, you can't let it affect your next play, your next game, your next day. So it's really just about, I think, being in the present. You can't focus on what's happened before or what might happen in the future, because that means you're not focused on what's going on right in front of you. I think that's most important.
And so much of basically everything you guys do is so charted. Coach was just talking with us about that. Well, do you have any specific numbers and metrics that you're looking for kickoffs in particular, to where you're going to feel like you're not just back to where you were, but even reaching higher, or anything specific you're shooting for?
Yeah. So we chart basically everything. So we got tons of data, tons of numbers on all of our kicks, distance, hang time, location. We're looking at everything so we can all be the best we can. As far as kickoffs, we're generally looking for touchbacks. So, you want to be at least 70 yards, 75 is great, and usually looking for at least 4 seconds of hang time on those.
That's kicker Andrew Boyle breaking it down and what his goals are going into this season. Now healthy again for Oregon in a loaded kicker room. He figures to play a big part in it. Also for Oregon in a loaded part of their team, the defensive backfield. A lot of transfers being brought in. Jabbar Muhammad, one of them. He's named to a watch list earlier today. He's on the Chuck Bednarik Award watch list for the best defensive player in the country, the transfer defensive back. He's going to play a big role for Oregon in the defensive secondary. A whole lot of transfers in that defensive secondary, and they've got a big challenge in practice every day going up against the receiver room. We got to hear from Jabbar Muhammad after practice on Friday as well. Let's hear from the Oregon DB.
Heard a lot about Dan Lanning's scheme and how difficult it is to learn after spring and summer. How do you feel you're doing with it?
I feel pretty good. I was doing some Zooms before I got here in the spring on the playbook, but at the end of the day, football is just football. I've been playing a lot of football, as you guys know, so it's just different terms and things like that. So I just apply the different terms that I learned previously into this scheme. But I pretty much know it all now. I'm moving faster than I was in the spring. I was doing pretty good in the spring with the playbook, but it was some stuff that I didn't know, like certain checks, things like that. But over the summer, got with some of the guys, things like that. But now I feel good with playbook.
Are you playing more on the boundary or the field right now?
Both. It doesn't really matter. We switch it up. Whoever I'm out there with, we kind of switch sides sometimes. But yeah, it don't matter.
Is there a side that you feel more comfortable with at this point?
I don't know if it's because I'm like ambidextrous or something like that. Left, right, it don't really matter to me. It's cool.
What do you make of the other corners on the roster and any guys that really stand out to you?
I mean, every single corner. Everybody's talented. Everybody's honed in on the playbook. Everybody's locked in right now. But I'm more surprised as like the physicality of fall camp, how everybody's locked in with it. All the corners, taking care of their bodies. They're getting extra film and things like that. So that's pretty much what I'm got from it.
How much do you think your time or here in Oregon has already maybe changed the type of player you are, just the atmosphere and the type, like you said, the physicality that they've already brought?
Oh, a lot. One thing that I want to get better at is my physicality, and you have no choice but to do that here. So that's kind of was a perfect match for me. So that's pretty much one.
How different is that physicality from where you were before? What places?
Yeah, it's way different. You hitting and rat-a-tat-tatting every single day. So it's much different.
Outside of the physicalities, any other differences you've noticed about fall camp first time here?
Yeah, it's a tough schedule. It's legit all day. Like, you see all the TikToks and everything about how fall camps all day. It's lenient in some of the programs, but this one is kind of tough.
Heading into your first scrimmage, what do you want to see out of your defense as a whole?
Just the communication. We've been doing a good job the whole fall camp. What is it, like day 8, practice 9 or whatever. So just the communication. I want to see that fall over into the scrimmage. And everybody just go out there and let loose.
Is there any wideout in particular that you like going one-on-one with?
Yeah, shoot. I say this a lot, but I say every single one. They all have different attributes to their game that make them special. So it doesn't matter who you lined up with when you go against Oregon. They all got some talent.
Tell me about Evan Stewart. We've heard a lot of people talk about him, but not really in detail. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, same thing I've seen from spring. He's explosive. He's fast. They can run every route on the route tree. He has yards after catch. Evan's special.
When you get nominated for multiple preseason awards, does that do anything for you? Any little extra motivation or anything like that?
Nah. I mean, I haven't won anything. I haven't even played yet, so it doesn't really do anything for me. I'm honored to be on the list or the watch list or whatever, but I ain't did nothing yet.
You said you enjoy going against everybody, but has anybody been getting the better of you particularly?
No, it's iron sharpening iron out there. We all talk with each other. We all pick each other brains, and we all think each other are pros. So we're just getting better in that type of aspect of the game.
What have you seen from someone like Sione, who's obviously a new guy on the team, but is transfer a little bit older than some of the young guys?
Yeah, Sione is actually really smart. He's long, obviously. He's tall, fast. He has all the attributes to be a pretty good corner. I'm just seeing him putting it all together right now.
How do you measure your own success? I mean, obviously you can look at the stats and look at passes defended, and you were up there near the top of the country.
Mm-hmm.
That said, there's corners who say, I don't want to be real high up there. That means they're throwing at me. How do you view it? What is your metric where you feel like I was successful if I did? Obviously, I allow a pass.
Yeah, at the end of the day, when you play corner, I feel like you're going to get attacked. They're going to go at you, especially with today's age, with all the explosive offenses. So I come out there with the mindset that they're going to come at me, and you want to be on the good side of that outcome.
What's the competition like just amongst that secondary group as a whole?
Yeah, it's good competition. But like I said, at the end of the day, we're together. We're bonding every single day. Like I said, this schedule is crazy, so we have no choice but to get to know each other, get around each other. But the competition is good. We're motivating each other and things like that and that type of aspect, so it's pretty good.
That's Jabbar Muhammad. He is a new addition to another watch list, the Chuck Bednarik Award, but you heard him talk about it. He hasn't won anything yet. Season hasn't even started. Right now in the development stage and the preparation for the season, he's made it clear. Whether it's going up against the other DBs or DB versus receiver, iron sharpens iron. That's what you get when you have a whole bunch of depth across the board throughout the entirety of the roster at pretty much every position. Jabbar Muhammad contributing to some of that talented depth in the defensive back grouping for this Oregon defense. Scrimmage on Saturday, both last Saturday and coming up this Saturday for Oregon football. It'll count in the record book for Oregon soccer coming up on Thursday and Sunday of this week. It's game week for Oregon soccer. Grame Abel is here, talking with the head man for Oregon soccer when we return on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
There's still time to squeeze more out of summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. Now, if I can just squeeze more clothes into this suitcase for my road trip, got it!
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends September 3rd. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
There's still time to squeeze more out of summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. Now, if I can just squeeze more clothes into this suitcase for my road trip, got it!
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends September 3rd. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me, and I contemplated suicide. My grandson, I was gonna have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe.
Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby.
Back here on Duck Insider in the Country Financial Studio, Ryan Milano with Oregon soccer head coach Grame Abel. Coach, it's game week. How are you feeling? We're almost here.
I know, it's crazy. It's coming around quick.
Do you get like it's sort of like an anxious build-up to game week? It's been about 9 months since you've been on the playing surface in games that count towards the actual record.
Yeah, I mean, as a staff, we just get back into our rhythm of, once the Monday hits prior to playing, and we closed preseason out last night, and so you kind of get back onto your regular rhythm of meetings, and student athletes are off today, and today's their off day, and then tomorrow we start the process again of getting them ready for the games.
So the routine does just slightly alter once you get into game week and real season.
Yeah, we're off for double days now. We kind of get to the rhythm that we would be in even if school was in session as well, so I try to keep it as consistent as possible. So yeah, we come off of those kind of bigger days, heavier days, more meetings and stuff like that we would typically have in preseason.
Does it almost feel like you've been preparing for a test a little bit? You've gone through all the recruiting and all the training throughout the offseason, and now it's, all right, time to put ball on the field, roll it out there, and let's play.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're looking at the amount of information you want to kind of download into the kids through the preseason and overwhelm them with information, and so you try to put in your base principles and then just keep building on them within the season, and as you add pieces and you solidify those, you add additional pieces as you go along.
Throughout the offseason, a big note for your squad, third year in a row with a perfect APR score, which is the student of the student-athlete side of things. How important is that to have your students continue to excel not only on the field but in the classroom?
Yeah, I mean, we're really lucky. We see it when we go recruiting. We talk about when we go recruiting, we bring recruits on campus. You can kind of get numb to all this sometimes because we're used to it every single day. But we got the JCOR Center that it just provides so many resources for our kids academically. The support and all those different pieces. We have Lindsey Bingham, who played here and now is back, as an academic advisor, who's unbelievable for all our kids. So we're set up for success, and then the kids have got to play their part in terms of taking care of that piece. So academically we do exceptionally well, so it's really, really good.
How big of an emphasis was that for you, where you come in from the pro ranks, you've had some collegiate experience, now come in as the head coach of Oregon, and it's basically been your entire tenure here where Oregon has excelled both in the classroom and on the field with the APR score, once again, 3rd year in a row. How much of a transition was it, and how much of an emphasis when you first came in did you put on having success in the classroom?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to set them up for after athletics. There's more opportunities in our sport now for our student athletes to go pro. That's grown in Europe, grown throughout the rest of the world. 2 leagues now in the US in terms of that piece, but we're still not at the point that they're going to make they're going to be able to retire at 35 and not have to work again. So you have to set them up for success with regards to that. So you have to emphasize the academics, getting the degree, getting the specialization that they want to, have a future career in, using all the student services that, set them up for future for a future career down the line. So yeah, you've got to push that thing, and you want to make sure that when they graduate, whether they go professional or not, that they're going to be successful in the next stage of their life.
Looking for success both off the field and on it, continuing to get tune-ups throughout this preseason. You played Oregon State last week, played Idaho this week. What did you learn from the road trip?
Again, it was a proper road trip for us in terms of that piece, going on the road and staying in a hotel and all those different things, which is new for some of our kids and things like that. And we just continue to do the things that we've been looking to do throughout preseason. Good learning points, pulled out different learning points and different teaching points that we're able to look at in the last couple of days. And so, so we feel really good coming out of the 2 games, and first time we've ever played 2 preseason games like that. So yeah, excited now as we go into the first real game here, so to speak.
Is there sort of a teaching piece for teaching athletes how to sort of conduct a road trip and how to best prepare yourself to play effectively when you are on the road?
Yeah, I mean, we dealt with a bigger bus journey, obviously out to Moscow, which is about an 8-hour journey. So there's obviously, once you get there and you've got to practice at the place, so you got to make sure that you're rolling out and you're making sure you take care of your body that way, and then making sure as coaches we don't do too much in the pre-game session in terms of that piece. How we do pre-game, in terms of nutrition, working with our dietitians, how we do the pre-game meetings, because it's slightly different than what we do at home, and so it's just going through that schedule and trying to find a good balance that way, and trying to make sure that even though you're away from home, you're not disrupting the student athlete's rhythm too much.
So at home this week, Thursday, first game, August 15th against Seattle, 7 p.m. at Pat Bay, the lead-up into that game. Sort of take me through the week. What is this weekly preparation for game day on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, it's bigger practice tomorrow. Tuesdays are typically we play Thursday, Sunday. Tuesdays are our only real big practice of the week. So it'll be a bigger practice tomorrow. Again, emphasis on us. As we get into Wednesday, lighter practice, last little touch-ups and things like that. Thursday, and off we go. So it rolls around quick.
What are some things you're looking for from your team to either continue to improve on going into this game coming up on Thursday, or things that you just want to see excel on Thursday when you first get cleats on turf?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's being us, you know what I mean, and high energy in terms of trying to get the ball back. When we've been at our best here, it's been that piece of it. Feel as though we're in a good place to do that piece, being confident on the ball. We've got some really good attacking players, that we've brought in, players out here who've developed through the spring, people we've brought in through transfers, so we have a nice mix that way, and so asking for those players to be at the best, solid defensively. Again, we've got, players who've continued to develop, players we've brought in. We've got a really, really solid base there. We think that will continue to grow. So on both sides of the ball, making sure, again, good energy, attacking wise, and then making sure we're disciplined on the defending side of the ball.
You talk about confidence on the ball. How do you build that confidence throughout the offseason moving into the games with the confidence on the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it's trying to create different types of games in the off-season, in the preseason and things like that, and trying to challenge our student athletes in different ways, give them tools, but then kind of let them flourish and let organically grow from the things you give them as well. And then just keep trying to set them up for success as much as we can.
So 2 games this weekend, one against Seattle, one against Portland State. How do you go about your week? Do you prepare for sort of 2 teams at the same time, or is it, okay, we're focused on Thursday, and then once Thursday's over, we'll focus on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you can only play the games directly in front of you. So certainly I focus for Thursday. Ray Chandler's one team, Sean handles another team. In terms of scouting, with regards to that piece, our Tuesday practice is always about us anyway. Making sure we continue to focus on us and continue to make sure we get better. And then we'll do a little bit on Wednesday. We'll do a little bit on the Saturday practice for Portland State, and then we go from there.
Going up against Seattle, just scouting report on the Red Hawks. What do they bring to the table? What do you want to see coming up on Thursday in terms of how you handle your opponent?
Yeah, they're always a good team. Always do really, really well in terms of in the region. Win their conference consistently. Going to the NCAA tournament consistently. So they'll be good. They're always dangerous up top. Always athletic. Julie does a really good job. She's been there a long time, and so they do a really good job. So they'll present a challenge on both ends of the field for us.
Continuing to schedule tough, that's been a big emphasis in years past. It's an emphasis again, a non-conference tough schedule. How big of an emphasis did you put on that when you were constructing sort of this schedule leading into conference play?
Yeah, it's trying to find a balance. Probably in previous years we probably, it ended up being too tough. I think we were at one point, I think we had the number 1 schedule in the country or something last year, and you try to find that balance by trying to look at rosters, what future rosters are going to look like with opposition, and trying to find the balance to make sure you've got challenging games and good games on there, and that set you up for when you get into the conference play.
So going up against Seattle on Thursday, Portland State on Sunday. Haven't dove your full attention into Portland State, but coming out of this weekend with both of those games, what sort of defines success for both of the weekends?
Well, we want to go for the wins in both, and no doubt about that piece. Want to play well, want to imprint ourselves with the things that we've been doing in preseason, and look at those pieces, and we want to make sure we imprint ourselves on the opponent in both games, and come up with 2 wins.
It's a bit of a new-look squad, not only in roster construction, but also in the kits that you'll be wearing. Over the offseason, debuted some different uniforms, 4 combinations, your classic white, green, yellow, and then a B Oregon pair as well. What sort of went in from your perspective? Were you involved in the uniform process? And then your thoughts on the new kits that you'll be debuting?
Yeah, they're so Oregon. That's the best way to describe them. And, we were really lucky that Todd Van Horn and Nike, were able to help us out. And, I think it's the first time I've been here that directly, they've been designed, by those guys. And they just done such an outstanding job with them. And they presented us with a bunch of different options. And, I mean, again, famous at Oregon about, I think there was about 12 different uniforms they presented us with. We would have loved to have got all 12, being greedy. I showed a couple of them to our student athletes, and they were like, could we have gotten that one, or could we have gotten that one? And, they were amazing. And so, we always look like we're the best in the country with regards to this piece. So, never have to worry how we look. I always laugh when we go recruiting, because you always know when Oregon show up to the field, but you also know when Oregon are leaving the field as well. So it's it can be on both sides of things.
So the 4 new uniforms, you've got your white, your green, your yellow. Those will be the sort of classic kits.
You got the mixes in there. You got the yellow and green. You got the green and yellow. You got the white and the green. You got the white and the yellow.
You can bring whatever to the
table. You throw
the
different socks in there, and you got all the different combinations. So
I'm excited for the uniform combinations that will be coming through the pipeline. We do know that for the B Oregon set, the B Oregon game on September 29th versus Purdue is when that classic B Oregon will be worn. But there's so many more uniform combinations.
Yeah, the B Oregon uniform's it's unique. I think we're probably the only team in the country, any sport that has something like that. Big shout out to John Mitchell as well, because he just does such a good job for us from the equipment side of things and taking care of us and going the extra mile just in terms of finding different ways to do different things and putting different things out there. So huge shout out to him as well.
So new look on the pitch in terms of the kits. It's also a new look in terms of the players that are on the roster. Just going into this weekend, what should the fans that come out to Pape, who should they be expecting to see, and how does the group sort of differ from the group last season?
Yeah, it's experience. I mean, I won't give too much away in terms of lineups and things like that, but it's I think the one stat that we looked at, we went into last season with about 250 odd games of experience on the roster. I think this year we go into it with over 700 games of experience on the roster, so that's a completely different look right there. So we're excited about that piece. Just the overall feel of the group in terms of the experience piece and the maturity is completely different. So yeah, fun group to be around, and I won't give too much away in terms of who they'll see. They'll have to come out to see who we're gonna play on Thursday.
Well, I was just about to say Thursday 7 o'clock, Sunday at 1 o'clock. Why should fans come out and support at Pape Field, and what are they going to see from Oregon soccer coming into this opening weekend?
First team in Oregon, right, to start the Big Ten kind of era, right? It's still in non-conference play, but no, I mean, we've got a bunch of obviously new kids in terms of transfers and what we brought in, in terms of our freshman group as well. Some really good players, some really good kids, ton of experience in the roster. So yeah, we'd love the public to come out, and obviously not in school right now, so the community are huge for us at this part of the year because they can bring the majority of the fan base for us. So we'd love them to come out and cheer us on, push us forward.
First event in the Big Ten. It's starting for Oregon. It'll start with Oregon soccer coming up this Thursday at 7 o'clock. I'll be there. Coach, you'll be there.
I'll be there.
I hope that all you fans will be there. It'll be such a great time.
Awesome.
Coach, thanks for hanging around.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Always. We're going to come back, and the Olympics aren't playing on that TV anymore, and that's upsetting. But Oregon, they did some work in Paris. We're breaking it down when we return on Duck Inside on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You told me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back here in the Country Financial Studio on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano taking you through the remainder of today's show. We had Coach Dan Lanning on after scrimmage in the first segment. We talked special teams with Joe Lorig in segment number 2. We heard from some student athletes and Andrew Boyle, Jabbar Muhammad, as well as they continue to work through fall camp. And it's game week for Oregon soccer. Yes, if you are in Eugene and you're not at Pape Field on Thursday at 7 o'clock for the very first Oregon athletic event in the Big Ten, I don't know what you're doing. I'm going to be there. I hope to say hi to all of you while I am there. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. I'm really excited to see this new iteration of Coach Grame Abel's squad going in to this 2024 fall season. Also, it seemed like a staple in here for this year, and it's just because I think that the first week of Duck Insider coincided with the first week of the Olympics. Great job in scheduling, by the way. I'm not sure who's in charge of that. Probably Joey. Great job in scheduling. It's felt awesome to be able to be here in studio. We've got TVs galore, the main one over here. We have been watching the Olympics day in, day out, cheering on our Ducks. I felt just a little, maybe a lot sad when I came into studio today and that TV was off. It was off. But the Ducks, they put in work over the Olympics. It was a great summer Olympics for the University of Oregon. 21 participants in the Olympic Games were members of the Oregon community. It was awesome to see everybody compete and put in their best work at the highest level of athletics, the world stage. It was absolutely amazing to see some highlights over the, I guess, last 2+ weeks. You've got gold medals galore. 3 Oregon Ducks are returning with a gold medal. Cole Hawker in the 1500. He got that gold medal. 2 women's basketball gold medals. Sabrina Ionescu yesterday took home the gold medal for Team USA, as that was a crazy game against France. The Team USA versus France basketball rivalry this weekend, I didn't know it was a thing. It's a thing now. On the men's side, that was a gold medal for the U.S., and on the women's side, it came down to the wire to secure Sabrina Ionescu her gold medal. 67-66 victory, toe on the line. Buzzer beater would have tied it for France. Toe on the line means that Sabrina Ionescu comes home with the gold medal, and we're happy about it. Congratulations to Sabrina. Also to Elisa Mevius, who took home her gold medal about a week or so back in the women's 3-on-3 basketball competition as a member of Team Germany, as they took home gold in that event. And so Oregon, dominant on the world stage in women's basketball and the 1500 meter. Another medal, the 4th medal for Oregon, came over the weekend as Jessica Hull took silver in the women's 1500. Men's 15 gold, women's 15 silver, women's team basketball gold, and 3-on-3 basketball gold. Pretty efficient last 2 weeks for Oregon. On the practice field today, we'll hear from Coach Tony Tuioti, student athletes Derek Harmon, and Noah Whittington. Joey will have that for you on the show tomorrow. Go Ducks, everybody.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I looked through his eyes. I can envision a whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream.